I want to switch gears a little bit and then come back, try to link these together. Talk to
Yeah.
me about lean-in feminism.
Oh.
Is that something that you approve of, disapprove of?
It's a language I don't have any relation to. I mean, in a certain sense, I do. Lean in means you can have it all, right? Lean in, and there's been tremendous quarrels about that. And these tremendous quarrels have emanated from the fact that the world has not changed enough to accommodate women who want it all. A woman who, like, I forget her name.
Sheryl Sandberg.
Sheryl Sandberg. A woman like Sheryl Sandberg, she clearly is in the catbird seat. You know, it's mostly a matter of money. You know, which is why we're accused of running a middle class movement, that we don't take into consideration the fact that a great deal of what we want turns on having the material wherewithal to accomplish this. So here comes a woman who's a CEO, makes a fortune, lives this kind of life, and says, listen, I'm doing it all and you should all do it all. We've been saying that forever, but not taking into consideration the actualities on the ground. But this goes for everything, of the question of having it all. I don't agree with lean in this way. It's not a question of agreeing or not agreeing. Oh, let's put it the other way. Her insight is shallower than it looks. And along with, I'll say this, along with this book, Spinster, which appalled me, by the woman who said, you know, it's still true that, you know, the question is not whether I'll marry, but when I'll marry. Not even who I'll marry, but when will I marry. At the same time I reviewed that book, I reviewed another book called Shallow, Selfish, and Self-Absorbed, I think. 16 writers talk about why they didn't want children, never had children, never will, and don't regret it. These, and mostly women, and mostly writers. And one of them, I think it's Pam Houston, one of them says, the idea that you can have it all is not really true. What you can have is, if you want it all, you can have a little bit of both, a little bit of everything. But if you want to live life full out as a worker, they're all writers, as a working writer, you can't really have it all. You can't be a full-time mother and or you know, real working mother. And I thought about that. I'd never thought about that before. But I thought, she's lived through it. I haven't. You know, she's like 20 years younger than me, and she's lived through it. And I think she knows what she's talking about. She said, I didn't want a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I wanted to live a life of a writer, flat out. And I have. And
so it's about choice, not about
it's about
the freedom to make a choice.
Yeah, it's about a deeper recognition of the gap between practice and theory. Is what it is, which is most of our lives. And I've talked a lot about this. You know, the brash, narrow, visionary, ideological statements that we all made in order to bring ourselves to the attention of the world, and which is what they all did from Wollstonecraft on, from Vindication of the Rights of Women on. You speak in these narrow, visionary terms in order to announce your existence, because you know, you're not putting on combat boots, you're not marching in the street with guns, you're not taking over anything. This is the only way in which you make yourself known. Well, after that, so that's theory. That's theory. We need this, we need that, this is who we are. Bullshit, we don't know who we are, and we don't know what we need. And then we live these lives in which we struggle with these terms and these efforts. People who are struggling to live a serious life, not just let life happen, but to make terms and try to live out those terms, that is shocking. That's real, it's powerful, and it's rare. And that's what we set out to do, thousands of us, people like us, and discovered, you know, that you were falling down a well and climbing back up.